Today is May 3rd and I'm out here planting in the garden. So I'm going to get these 4 rows planted this morning. And I've already got the first row done. So down in this row I have ridgeline path corn. And then in between the corn I have lima beans from seeds that we saved, I believe it was 2 years ago. So I'll show you how that looks. There's our corn, lima bean, corn, lima bean, and so on. It goes all the way down the row. And then this last little hole right here, I ran out of lima beans, so I had some Thai long soldier beans. And those seeds are pretty old, so I put 2 of them in there. And then I've got a spot on here on the end that will be in the shade, so I may move some of my lettuces over here now that it's starting to get really warm out. And also up here on the front of the bed, I've got a little bit of space that I left, thinking that maybe I'd want to put something there, so we'll see. So that first row's done, and now I'm going to move on over to the other rows. So in the front of this bed, I decided to put a zucchini, and I'll show you what seed that is. I've got this seed right here that is old. Let's see, when did it say? Oh, it's right here. So these are 2021. So we'll see what happens. But that's what I put right there in that spot. Working my way along in this row, I ended up putting, I'm trying to use up the oldest seeds that I have. Let me see what I do with them. So in this second row, I have these seeds from Andrew's Seed Company. And this is ambrosia corn. So I planted this row full of ambrosia corn. I'll show you how the seeds look. They've got some kind of coating on them. I don't know what that is. But anyways, that's what's in this row, along with I did Kentucky pole beans, and again, these are old seeds. I'm trying to use up the oldest seeds that I have. These are from 2020. So I put those in between, just like I did the first row. I did bean, corn, bean, corn, bean, corn, all the way down. In the front of this row, I did a yellow squash, which again is old seed. Where did I put my seeds? I'm trying to keep organized here. Here they are, I found them. And these are just like a standard summer squash that I have old seed from. This is also 2021. Again, I'm just trying to use up the oldest seeds that I have, because as you can see, I've acquired quite a few, and this isn't everything. Oops. Alright, so let's move on down to this row. This is the one I'm working on right now. And the sun's starting to come out, so I'm trying to get these 4 rows planted. But in the middle of this row, all along down there, you can see the dark part in the middle. I have planted Metcalf Mills sorghum. There's the seed. I planted that all along down the middle. In the front of the row, which seems to be the widest part of this row, I don't know if you can tell from the video, but this front part is really extra wide, so I thought that might be a good place to put a squash. And we love Justin's Cushaw squash, and I have seed that I saved from a squash that he gave me back in 2021, so I put 1 squash right here. I was trying to decide what I wanted to put along the edges. I have a lot of extra space in this row, it seems, because it's a lot wider than the other 2 rows. And I can't remember exactly the spacing and whatnot on sorghum. So I'm not going to try to trellis anything on the sorghum. I'm just going to let it be as is. But then along the sides of the bed, because the row is so wide, I think I'm going to plant these. And I don't even know if these are pole beans or bush beans. So maybe this isn't the best option. But I wanted to plant these, but let me reconsider. Alright, I pilfered through my bag a little bit and I found these. These are bush beans that I saved from last year, so I know for sure these are a bush variety, which is good because I just want short plants along the side there. And then I think I'll do another row along this edge as well. So there's my bush bean seeds, which is good because I have another jar that I didn't label. So now I know that this color bean that I have, these are bush beans. So I'm going to get these planted. See, here's what I'm talking about. I didn't label these till after the fact, so I would put a question mark. Are they vine or are they bush? But they're the same color. And I only saved seed from 2 different types of beans last year. One was a pole and one was a bush. So I know these are bush. I'm going to use these up as well. Hopefully you can see that, but I've got little divots along both edges of the bed. And since my seeds are just from last year, I just did one per hole. I hope the chickens aren't too distracting. It's prime laying time this morning, but I want to get this garden work done while the sun's not too high. We actually didn't sift this compost at all for these corn rows, just because we ran out of time, and we thought, well, if there's so many worms, they're going to do the job for us as far as finishing this compost. We were able to get all of these rows filled in one day, which otherwise it would have taken probably several days. What I'm going to do, since this is rough compost down in there, I'm just going to cover each seed with a little bit of fine. Like that. And it takes me an extra second to do that, but I don't mind because we saved ourselves a lot of time getting these rows done really quickly by not sifting them. So all I'm going to do is come through here and just drop a little bit of compost on each of them. That way, as they grow their roots, they have something to kind of hold on to immediately. At least that's my theory and that's my experiment. So we're going to go with it. So just drop a little bit of compost on them. Just like that. And that's exactly what I did with the sorghum as well. We will see what happens. This is kind of an experiment. This is poplar bark from the monster poplar tree that we fell. And I do have a video of that. I can link below. But anyways, this bark had just been sitting on that tree ever since we fell it. And James peeled the bark off of that little bit of round that was left down there. And so what's really cool about the inside of this bark is it's really peely. So not only can I use the exterior bark as a mulch, but I can maximize my interior bark as well to double my mulch. See all this stuff right here? I just peeled all of this off of the inside of that bark. From that section and from that section, and those are 8 feet long. And I just gave myself a bunch more mulch. I need to go back and do both of those because I didn't peel any bark off of those. But isn't that cool? I'm able to use that to help mulch my beds. And we're calling to get some rain here, either later today, tomorrow, and then over the next, I think, week it's going to be raining. I don't know if it's going to be all day, but on and off probably at least. And this is a downhill slope. The water comes from up here and moves down this way. And last year we had a big problem with our compost, our soil and our corn rows getting washed down the hill, down the mountain. So I'm hoping that by putting this inner bark peeling right here at the top where the water comes in, that will help keep everything in place. We'll see. There's a lot of experiments going on here. I've got a little bit around this section. I'm going to do that section, and then that section down there the same. It's coming along. Sun is just starting to come up right as we're finished. I'm just getting this last row watered in, and then I'll get it covered up with something. I'll probably just grab some more boards or metal siding since I already used all of my bark pieces. So in this last row, what I ended up doing was putting a lemon squash on the front right here, just because I had a little bit of space. And they like to trail out on the ground, so I'm guessing it'll grow out along here. Then down this row, I ended up doing Metcalf Mills Silver Queen corn with those black beans that I had showed y'all a little bit ago. So if those are vining beans, they can just, you know, they can grow up the corn. So I'm just getting this last row watered in, then I'll get it covered up. All right, we did it. All 4 rows are fully planted. Okay, so I'm back in the garden. It's been a little bit since I planted those corn rows, but I had to take a break. Anyway, I thought I would show you after I planted the corn rows. I went through and planted a few other things. I've got all my peppers and tomato starts here, so I got a few of those in, and then I also put in a few celery plants. So let me just show you that really quick, and that will also help me to know what varieties I've planted where later on when I lose my tags. In the corner of this raised bed that currently is being used to grow chicken food, I pulled out some of the wheat that was in this corner and I placed in one of my cherry tomatoes. I had to dig up my tag again because I buried it, but this is a sugar cherry tomato, and the reason I chose this cherry tomato to go here is because it already has a flower on it. And we grew a cherry tomato here last year and it was taller than this pole, so we hope to strive for lots of cherry tomatoes again this year. Next bed up, I've got 3 pepper plants that I placed, and these are all bell peppers. So we have a Ace pepper, an Arthur pepper, and another Arthur pepper. Behind that, I put in 5 celery plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the last thing that I transplanted in was this little payette tomato. And this is more of like a bush type tomato. It doesn't get nearly as big. I probably still will need to trellis it some, but this one won't get as huge as, say, the cherry tomato trees. I had some leftover poplar bark, or inner bark I guess, so I decided to mulch these peppers that James and I planted yesterday evening. And since these tags I'm trying out this year I know aren't going to be very good, they've already started to rot, I'm going to go ahead and just video what they are so that way I'll know. So this one is Bastin. This one is a pickle pepper from our friend Kenny. And then this one is a poblano pepper. This next one, oh, we done lost the tag. I found it. This is a jalapeno, so let me put him back up. Cover him back up. Sorry about that, friend. This is a, see, this tag's already falling apart. A Jedi hot pepper. And then this one is a poblano. And my thinking this year was that this is the first little short row, and so it'll be easy to walk up to the row when I want to harvest, because these are the varieties that I harvest the most frequently, and so I thought that'd be easy access right there. So that looks good. I'm happy with it. Alright guys, so that's going to be a wrap on the garden work for the day. It's now the heat of the day, which means I'm going to go work somewhere in the shade, hopefully, and try to be a little bit more cool. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.